Welcome to today's story. A chilling mystery that will take you deep into the Valley of Silence, where echoes never return and names can be stolen. Stay with us. Until the end, you won't believe what happened. If you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, turn on the notification bell so you never miss our nightly tales of horror and suspense. The house on the edge of the valley. The bus left him at the mouth of a dirt road that climbed into the hills like a scar. Evening was already bending the light when Salim began the walk toward the property his late uncle had left him. The villagers had called it the house on the edge of the valley, though most of them refused to say much more. The air was cooler than he expected for late summer. The olive trees leaned in crooked silhouettes, their branches trembling in a breeze that seemed to come from the depths of the earth rather than the open sky. To his left, the land fell sharply into a gorge the locals called the Valley of Silence. No echo ever returned from it. They said if you called your name there, the sound vanished into some other throat. Salim's uncle had died alone in that house 2 months earlier. All that arrived to Salim was a yellowing envelope with a key, a deed, and a strange page of instructions written in the uncle's careful, curling hand. 1. Do not open the western window after dusk. 2. If someone calls your name from the yard after midnight, do not answer even if it sounds like me. 3. If you hear 2 footsteps and then a long silence, turn on the lamp immediately and do not move. 4. Do not allow the oval mirror to reflect emptiness at dawn. At first, Salim laughed at the page. His uncle had always been a teller of dark tales, a man who liked to frighten children. But as the road narrowed and the shape of the house emerged against the fading sky, the words weighed heavier. The building clung to a black rock spur jutting over the valley. Its flat roof carried a rusted water tank, and its windows were gaping sockets sealed with old shutters. A chain dangled from the front door without a lock, as though someone had once tried to secure it and abandoned the effort. When Salim reached the threshold, he slid the iron key into the stubborn lock. The door groaned open with the smell of damp stone and paper. He flicked the light switch, but nothing happened. No electricity. Only his phone's weak flashlight pushed back the gloom. The reception room was larger than it looked from outside. A faded sofa sagged beneath its own weight. A square wooden table waited in dust, and against the western wall hung the thick green curtain hiding the forbidden window. On the opposite wall, an oval mirror gleamed unnaturally clean. Salim caught his own reflection, pale and tired, and whispered the 4th instruction to himself. Don't let it reflect emptiness. Beyond the short hallway, he found a bedroom with an iron bed frame, and another room that seemed to have been his uncle's study. Wooden shelves bowed under the weight of cassette tapes, dozens of them labeled in his uncle's handwriting. Bridge 7. 3rd night. Water course. Sounds. Mirror of Dawn experiments. A battered tape recorder sat ready on the desk. Salim frowned. What had his uncle been recording? The valley's silence, or something living inside it. He pulled back a curtain and glimpsed the backyard. a patch of dirt, a low stone wall, and a short fig tree reaching toward the western cliff. Beyond the wall, the ground collapsed into the valley where a ruined stone bridge arched halfway across the gap. Its ancient blocks were dark with age, bridged seven, he thought. Fatigue pulled at him. He dropped his bag beside the sofa and decided to spend the night here before returning to the city for supplies. He drank water, sat in the dim glow of his phone's lamp, and listened to the strange quiet. The frogs croaked, the stream whispered, and the wind threaded the weeds, but beneath it all was something hollow, a pause where sound should have returned. Curiosity gnawed. He loaded a random tape into the recorder. A hiss, then the trickle of water. His uncle's voice, steady but tense. Second experiment. 5 minutes to midnight. Wind from the southwest. If the voice calls me again, this will be the last time. Salim leaned closer. After a stretch of silence, a faint eshuhozi. No, not an echo. A voice, dragging itself up from the gorge. Salim. He froze. His name, the recorder continued. His uncle whispered, I will not answer. I will not. Then came the crunch of a stone underfoot. 2 footsteps. Silence stretched like a blade. Salim's breath faltered. He remembered the third rule. If you hear 2 footsteps in silence, turn on the lamp and stay still. He clutched his phone and thumbed the light brighter. For a terrible second, he almost switched it off instead. He stopped the tape, shoved it aside, but the damage was done. His uncle's warnings were no longer jokes. They were coordinates in a map Salim did not want to follow. Still, when he lay on the iron bed with the lamp burning beside him, sleep came in uneasy waves. Dreams tangled with reality. The broken bridge, water swallowing reflections, footsteps halting on the threshold of sound. At 12 minutes past midnight, a voice outside whispered his name again. Salim. His throat closed. The second instruction, do not answer. He bit his tongue. The voice scratched against the glass. See? L-I-M. Then 2 footsteps crunched in the dirt. Silence. Salim sat rigid, lamp blazing, sweat chilling his skin. Minutes crawled by until at last the sound receded, down toward the bridge. Dawn paled the room. In the mirror, for a breath of time, he saw nothing reflected, no wall, no lamp, not even himself. Then letters appeared in the fog of its surface. Go back. He stumbled to the study and found a tape he hadn't noticed before. My testament to heart hammering. He pressed play. His uncle's tired voice spoke clearly. If you are hearing this, Salim, I have failed to finish what I began. The house is not the enemy. The bridge is not the enemy either. The problem lies beneath. The silence takes what we give it. Never call your name there. Never answer when it calls you. And if you hear 2 steps and then silence, it means... The tape snapped. Salim stared at the broken ribbon. The message had been cut short, and he was left to finish it himself. Salim lowered the ruined tape into its case, fingers trembling. He wanted to laugh at himself, wanted to believe fatigue and nerves were twisting ordinary sounds into omens, but the word carved into his memory was too sharp. Salim. He stood in the reception hall, staring at the oval mirror through the open doorway. The morning light was gray, filtering in weakly, but enough to give the mirror depth. Within its surface, he thought he saw movement, not a reflection of himself, but a shadow bending beneath the broken bridge. He blinked hard. Only his own haggard face looked back. Shoving the cassette into his bag, he stepped outside. The village was awake now. Roosters crowed, goats bleated, smoke rose from chimneys. The dirt path to the store was downhill and quick. The shopkeeper, a lean man with tired eyes, glanced up from wiping dust off tins. "So," he said, "you slept there last night?" Salim nodded cautiously. "Yes? And I heard." He hesitated. "My name." The man's expression didn't change, as though the admission was no surprise. "We all hear our names there. Once. Maybe more. The question is, did you answer? No? Good." The man leaned closer, voice dropping. "Live long. The one who never answered." He tapped the counter with a cracked fingernail. "Beware the bridge. It's not the stones you should fear. It's what moves beneath them." Salim frowned. "What moves beneath?" The shopkeeper smiled thinly. "Not emptiness. Not exactly. Something that feeds on names. Your uncle tried to measure it, tried to name it back, but names have legs in that valley." "Legs?" Salim asked. The man's eyes shifted toward the door, toward the gorge. "2 steps," he said softly. Salim left the store unsettled. He carried bread, water, and matches back up the slope, the man's words echoing. "Names have legs. 2 steps." Back inside the house, he scribbled his own list of rules on a sheet of paper. 1. Never open the western window. 2. Do not answer the voice. 3. 2 steps. Then silence equals lamp on. Stand still, even in daylight. And 4. Avoid the mirror at dawn. 5. Do not carry my name to the bridge. But how? The last line bothered him most. How could a person not carry their own name? Wasn't it stitched into breath, into thought, into every answer to every question? Restless, he walked to the low wall of the backyard and peered over. Sunlight spilled into the gorge now, drawing silver from the narrow stream below. The ruined bridge jutted out defiantly, half-formed. On one of the stones near its base sat something black. At first, he thought it was a discarded bag, then realized it was a digital recorder. Salim's pulse thudded. He climbed down the side path, loose stones tumbling beneath his shoes, until he reached the recorder. A slip of paper was pinned to it. Solemne 1. His mouth dried. He pressed the power button. A single file blinked on the screen. Morning-0.wav. He hit play. 2 footsteps struck the earth beside him, not on the recording beside him. He spun around. No one, only the bridge and the trembling fig tree above. Then came the silence, heavy, crushing. Out of the recorder's speaker emerged his own voice. If you hear 2 steps and silence, it means the file ended. Salim stared at the device in horror. That was his voice, his intonation, his accent, a recording he had never made. He shut the recorder off, clutched it tight, and scrambled back to the house. Inside, he dropped it on the desk beside the old cassette player. His breath came ragged. The oval mirror caught him in its glass. He turned away quickly, but not before he thought he saw the bridge again, alive and waiting. The rest of the day crawled by in uneasy fragments. Salim. Tried. Yet every creak felt deliberate. Every shift of air seemed to breathe against his neck. At dusk, he sat in the reception room with the curtain drawn across the forbidden window. The mirror across from him glimmered faintly, even though the lamp on the table was the only light. He tried not to look at it, tried to keep his gaze fixed on the pages of a notebook he had found in the study. The notebook was filled with his uncle's scrawled observations, sketches of the bridge, diagrams of sound waves, notes on experiments. One entry chilled him. Names are anchors. The valley pulls them loose. 2 steps announce the grip. Silence means the descent has begun. Salim shut the book, heart pounding. By midnight, he was too restless to sleep. He sat on the iron bed with the lamp glowing beside him. Outside, the frogs had gone quiet. The stream's voice seemed muffled, as though buried. Then, precisely at 12, the whisper came again through the shutters. He clutched the lamp. The voice was patient, almost kind. Salim, open the window. Just a little. I only want to see you. His skin crawled. He pressed his lips tight. The rule was clear. Do not answer. Do not open. The whisper coaxed, retreated, coaxed again. Then, 2 footsteps, silence thicker than night itself. Salim forced himself not to move, not even to breathe loudly. The lamp buzzed faintly. Seconds bled into minutes. Finally, the pressure lifted. The presence withdrew, sliding down the slope toward the bridge. When dawn came, gray and thin, he made the mistake of glancing at the mirror. For a heartbeat, the glass did not hold his reflection. It was empty, an abyss, framed in wood. Then, like condensation, letters scrawled across its surface from the inside. Go back. His scream caught in his throat. He stumbled away, knocked the table, nearly dropped the lamp. The words faded, leaving only his own pale face staring back at him. Salim knew then the house would not let him leave untouched. His uncle's warnings were not the ramblings of a frightened old man. They were survival notes, half complete. Clutching the recorder marked day 1, Salim whispered to himself, as though to fix the rules into bone. Don't open. Don't. 2 steps mean danger. The mirror is a door, and my name. My name is not mine alone anymore. The valley outside held its breath, as if listening, and the first night was over. The morning sun was sharp and clear, but it brought no relief. Salim had slept little after the message appeared on the mirror. His uncle's cassettes still lay broken on the desk, the torn ribbon coiled like a dead snake. Beside it, the digital recorder blinked silently, waiting for him to press play again. He refused. He needed answer, not from machines, not from mirrors, but from people who might remember his uncle, the village. The village clustered a mile down the road, a collection of stone houses and narrow alleys. Chickens darted across the dust. Old men sat outside the cafe smoking in silence. Their eyes followed Salim as he approached, but no one greeted him. Only the shopkeeper spoke. You stayed another night. Salim nodded. Yes, I saw things. My uncle recorded voices. Do you know what he was studying? The man exhaled smoke. Your uncle thought the valley was a mouth, a place that swallows sound and gives it back. Different. Sometimes it gives footsteps. Sometimes it gives your name. One of the old men at the cafe muttered something. The shopkeeper ignored him. Stay away from the bridge, boy. Don't carry your name across it. Salim frowned. Everyone keeps saying that. How can I not carry my name? The shopkeeper shrugged. When the valley takes it, you'll understand. Return to the house. By noon, Salim was back. Heat shimmered on the stones, but the gorge felt strangely cold, as though the sun never touched its bottom. He avoided the mirror, avoided the curtain. He tried to busy himself with sweeping, unpacking, boiling water, ordinary chores to keep madness away. But by late afternoon, his eyes were drawn to the tapes again. He loaded one labeled Bridge 7, third night. The hiss of static, then his uncle's whisper. The silence here is thicker tonight. I will not cross. Only listen. The bridge feels awake. A pause. Then 2 footsteps. Silence. Salim's heart lurched. His uncle breathed heavily into the recorder. It's close. Too close. If anyone hears this dawn, let the mirror reflect the dawn. It is not glass. It is a gate. It shows what stands under the bridge. The tape ended abruptly. The pole of the bridge. Evening lowered itself like a curtain. Salim told himself he would not go outside, but by the time the first star appeared, he found his feet moving toward the backyard wall. He leaned over. The broken bridge waited, patient, ancient. He climbed down the path. Each step echoed louder than it should have. At the base, he stood before the half-ruined arch. The stones were massive, fitted without mortar, older than memory. "Just a look," he whispered, "nothing more." The stream trickled beneath, but when he leaned closer, the water seemed to fall without sound. His reflection shimmered, then vanished entirely. The surface showed only darkness, deeper than depth. Then came the voice, rising from the black water. "Salim!" His throat tightened. He staggered back. 2 footsteps struck the stones behind him. He whirled no one, only the broken bridge and the hollow air. He ran, scrambling up the slope to the house, slamming the door, throwing the bolt. His chest heaved. He collapsed against the wall, repeating the rules aloud until his pulse slowed. The second night. Midnight again. He sat with the lamp glowing, the curtain drawn, silence pressed against the walls like a tide. Then, knock, knock. Not footsteps this time. A knock at the door. His uncle's note had said nothing about knocking. "Salim," the voice called. It was his uncle's voice. "Open, please. It's cold." Salim shook his head violently. "You're dead," he whispered. "Not dead. Only waiting. Open, and you'll see." His hands clenched the lamp until the bulb trembled. 2 footsteps scraped outside. Then silence. Salim whispered the rule. "Don't move. Don't answer." The silence stretched 4 minutes, then hours. Finally, the dawn bled gray. Through the shut, he dared not look at the mirror. The morning sun rose clear, yet it felt hollow. The house sat on the cliff like a skull on a shoulder, and Salim carried the weight of the mirrors. Messagey go back every step he took. He tried to shake it off with ordinary chores. Boiling tea, sweeping floors, checking the rusty water tank. That ordinary things bent quickly beneath the valley's silence. Village whispers. He walked down to the village, hoping for answers. Chickens scattered. Old men watched him from the cafe. And children hushed their games as he passed. The shopkeeper was the only one who spoke. "You stayed another night," the man said flatly. Salim nodded. "I heard my name. I found recordings. My uncle. He was studying something." "Do you know what?" The shopkeeper scratched his beard. "Your uncle thought the valley was a throat. It swallows sound, sometimes gives it back, but not the same. Not the same how? Sometimes nothing. Sometimes footsteps. Sometimes your name. Everyone keeps warning me about the bridge. Why?" The man leaned closer. "Because under the bridge lies what eats names. Don't carry yours there." Salim pressed. How can I not carry it? My name is in me. The shopkeeper's eyes hardened. When the valley takes it, you'll understand. He refused to say more. The study, back in the house, Salim forced himself to open his uncle's notebooks. They were a chaos of sketches, maps of the gorge, notes about sound. One entry chilled him. Names are anchors. The valley pulls them loose. 2 steps announce the grip. Silence means the descent has begun. Another. At dawn, it opens to show what stands below the bridge. Salim slammed the notebook shut. He told himself not to listen to more tapes. But as dusk stretched its long fingers across the valley, he found his hand sliding a cassette labeled Bridge 7. Third night into the recorder. The hiss of static, his uncle's whisper. The silence here is thicker tonight. I will not cross. Only listen. The bridge feels awake. A pause. Then 2 footsteps. Silence so deep. Salim thought the tape had broken. His uncle's voice returned, ragged. If anyone hears this, do not let the mirror reflect the dawn. It is not glass. It is a gate. It shows what stands under the bridge. The tape cut off, drawn to the bridge. Salim swore he would stay inside, but by twilight his body betrayed him. He found himself standing at the backyard wall, staring at the bridge jutting across the gorge. Its stones glowed faintly as though they stored light from another world. He descended the side path. The air grew colder with each step. At the base, he approached the broken arch. The stream ran thin beneath it, but the water made no sound. He leaned over. His reflection wavered, then vanished. The surface showed only darkness, as if the water was a window opening onto the void. Then, from that black surface, a voice rose. Salim! He staggered back. 2 footsteps scraped behind him. He spun around no one. Only the bridge. Only the silence. He fled up the slope, lungs burning, until the house swallowed him again. The knock. That night he sat on the bed with the lamp burning. Midnight crept across the floor. He waited for the whisper. Instead came a knock. Slow, deliberate. Knock, knock. The voice outside was unmistakable. His uncle's. Salim, open. Please. It's cold. Salim froze. You're dead, he whispered. Not dead, the voice replied. Waiting. Open, and you'll see. 2 footsteps thudded against the earth. Then silence. He clutched the lamp until his knuckles whitened. He repeated the rules under his breath like prayer. Don't move. Don't answer. The silence stretched for an eternity. But eventually, dawn bled into the room. He dared not look at the mirror. Day 2. Salim staggered through the day like a man walking underwater. He needed to escape, but each time he thought of leaving, something tethered him to the house. The tapes, the notebooks, the recorder that had played his own voice. He told himself he would burn them all, but when he held a match to the cassette labels, his hand refused to strike. At noon, he forced himself down the slope again. He had to confront the bridge. The arch loomed above him, its stones too perfect, too deliberate. He touched one. It was warm, pulsing faintly as though blood ran inside. He pulled his hand back with a gasp. A shadow moved across the far end of the bridge, tall, indistinct. Salim blinked, and it was gone. The stream bubbled faintly, but when he listened harder, the sound twisted. It became breath. Then it became a word. Salim, his own name again. Breathed by water, he stumbled back, clambered up the slope, nearly falling in his haste. The mirror at dawn. The second night stretched longer than the first. Midnight brought no voice, no footsteps, only waiting. The lamp hummed faintly. He nearly fell asleep sitting upright. Then the mirror called his eyes. He didn't want to look, but something tugged his head toward it. The glass shimmered faintly in the lamplight. His reflection stood there, but not quite. The mouth of the reflection moved when his did not. "Come," it whispered. Salim lurched up, knocking the lamp. The bulb flickered but held. He dragged the curtain over the mirror and forced himself to sit until dawn. When gray light seeped into the room, he pulled the curtain aside. For an instant, the glass was empty, again no reflection. Only abyss. And within that abyss, a shape moved. The broken bridge, the black water, and a figure standing where no figure should. The letters appeared again, traced from within. "Don't answer." Salim's knees buckled. He backed away, chanting his uncle's rules. The mirror swallowed the letters, leaving only his white, frightened face. The notebook's final entry, desperate. He searched his uncle's study for more clues. In the back of one notebook, he found the last entry, written in hurried scrawl. "If the silence calls you 3 times, it has chosen. The bridge is the mouth, the mirror the eye. Once chosen, there is no leaving except by giving up the name. But a man without a name is no man at all." The page ended there. Salim slammed the notebook shut. His name throbbed in his skull, heavier than blood. He whispered it aloud. Once, twice, then bit down hard to stop himself. The walls of the house seemed to lean closer, listening. Nightfall. Salim sat with both the lamp and a candle burning, desperate for light. The curtain hung thick over the window. The mirror remained veiled. Midnight fell. 2 footsteps. Silence. Then the voice, inside the house this time, not outside. Salim? He clamped his hands over his ears. The voice came again, closer. Salim, he repeated the rule until his tongue ached. Don't answer. Don't answer. The silence swelled until it became unbearable. And in that silence he realized the truth. The valley did not need his answer. It already knew. The third dawn rose bloodless, a pale wash that made the stones of the valley look like bones. Salim had not slept. He sat in the reception room with the lamp still burning, staring at the notebook's final entry. If the silence calls you 3 times, it has chosen. The first time had been at the window, the second at the bridge, the third last night, inside the house itself. Chosen. But chosen for what? The pull of the valley. By mid-morning, the heat pressed down, but the gorge remained unnaturally cool. Salim stepped outside, trying to convince himself he could still leave. The dirt road stretched back toward the village, and beyond that, the city. He could take a bus, sell the house, forget everything. Yet as he shouldered his bag, the digital recorder in his pocket vibrated. He froze. The screen lit on its own. A new file had appeared. Salim-voice-03.wav. He hadn't recorded it. His hand shook as he pressed play. 2 footsteps. Silence. Then his own voice. If the silence calls 3 times, it means you cannot leave. He dropped the device as though it burned him. The bag slipped from his shoulder. Something inside him knew the file was right. The valley had taken his name, and with it, his freedom. The village is filled. He ran down the slope anyway. Desperate, the villagers watched from their doorways as he stumbled into the square. I need help, he gasped. The valley, my uncle, he left me with this house. These voices. The shopkeeper raised a hand. Quiet. Don't speak its name here. Salim's eyes darted. Then tell me how to stop it? How to give it back? An old woman stepped forward, her face a map of wrinkles. You can't give back what the valley has taken. You can only trade. Trade what? Something stronger than a name. She touched her chest. A life. The crowd shifted uneasily. The shopkeeper shook his head. Leave it, boy. Many tried. None returned whole. Salim staggered back, fury and fear mixing in his throat. No one would help him. No one dared. The bridge at noon. By noon, he was at the bridge again, drawn like iron to a magnet. The stones pulsed faintly beneath his hand, as if alive. The water below was black glass. Is this what you want? He shouted into the gorge. My name. Take it. Then take it and let me go. The valley answered with silence. Then 2 footsteps, directly behind him. He spun, but the bridge was empty. The silence stretched until he thought he would go mad. Finally, the voice rose, not his uncle's, not even his own, but something larger, layered with echoes. You are ours now, The world tilted. He staggered, clutched the stone, nearly fell into the water. His reflection surfaced for an instant, twisted, mouth open in a scream he hadn't yet given. Then it vanished again, the mirror at dawn. That night he covered the mirror with a blanket and pushed the sofa against it. He sat in the study with every light burning, flipping through the notebooks. Somewhere in these pages his uncle must have left a way out. At last he found a single line, scrawled on the back cover of a journal. To unname yourself, you must cross the bridge without speaking, without answering, without looking back. Leave the name in the silence. If you survive, you will not be Salim anymore. His hands trembled. Could he give up his name? Could he live as no one? The house groaned in the night. The footsteps came again, circling the walls, patient, waiting. When dawn bled gray into the cracks of the shutters, the blanket over the mirror stirred. The fabric sagged inward, pulled as though by breath. Letters burned faintly through the cloth. Cross. Salim fell to his knees. He whispered through clenched teeth, If I cross, I may not return. If I stay, I am already gone. Toward the fourth night, he packed nothing. Only the lamp, only the recorder. At dusk, he stood at the wall, staring down at the broken bridge. The valley yawned beneath, waiting. The rules no longer mattered. The silence had called him 3 times. He was chosen. The only question left was whether he would step forward or be dragged. And as the light died, Salim began the descent toward the bridge that did not answer. The descent. Twilight bled out of the sky as Salim made his way down the narrow path toward the bridge. The valley seemed to inhale with every step he took, as though the cliffs themselves drew him deeper. The recorder in his pocket was silent now, but heavy like it carried not files, but his poles. The broken arch rose before him. Its stones glowed faintly in the dusk, breathing like an animal asleep. He remembered his uncle's words. To unname yourself, cross, without speaking, without answering, without looking back. Salim placed one foot on the first stone. Cold surged through his leg like ice water. The bridge? The bridge was incomplete, a jagged half-arch ending in air. Each stone hummed beneath him, a vibration more felt than heard. The water below was black, swallowing the last light. Halfway across, the silence deepened. It pressed against his ears until he could hear only the blood in his veins. Then came the sound. 2 footsteps, but not his. They echoed beside him. Invisible, Salim froze. The rules screamed in his head. Lamp on! Stay still. He raised the lamp. Its glow revealed nothing but stones and shadow. Yet the footsteps stopped when he stopped. Then came the voice, layered with countless echoes. Salim. His tongue burned to answer, but he bit down hard until blood filled his mouth. He stepped forward. The voice followed. Closer. Salim. Look back. Every muscle begged him to turn, to see what walked behind. But he kept his eyes forward, each step tearing his name away. The edge. At the broken end of the bridge, he stopped. Beyond was only air and abyss. The silence roared. His name pounded in his skull. louder than thought. He felt it peel away from him, pulled into the void. The bridge. For a moment he was weightless, as if his body had been hollowed. He whispered not aloud, but inside himself, "I am not Salim. I am no one." The abyss shivered. The footsteps ceased. The voice fell silent. The mirror of water below rippled. For the first time, it reflected not his face, but emptiness, vast and complete. The return. He staggered back across the bridge, lighter and weaker all at once. When he reached the shore, the recorder in his pocket buzzed. A new file glowed on the screen. Unnamed WAV. He played it. No voice. No footsteps. Only silence. Perfect. Absolute. Tears blurred his eyes. He was free or hollow. He could not tell which. The house? At dawn he entered the house one last time. The mirror in the reception room was blank. No letters appeared, no warnings, no reflections. It did not know him anymore. On the table lay his uncle's final notebook. He opened it to the last page. A new line had appeared in faint, trembling ink. He crossed. He left the name behind. The valley keeps what it takes. Salim closed the book. He whispered into the empty room, not with his old name, but with the hollow that remained. I will not answer again. The valley. When he stepped outside, the sun rose over the cliffs. The valley no longer breathed against his skin. It was silent. Yes, but ordinary silence, not the swallowing kind. He walked the dirt road toward the village. The old man at the cafe watched him, puzzled, then turned their eyes away. To them, he was no one, a stranger. And perhaps that was safer ending. The house still stands on the cliff above the valley of silence. The bridge still waits, its stones warm with secrets. Sometimes, on windless nights, villagers say they hear 2 footsteps on the arch and then nothing. But no one hears the name that used to follow, because the valley already has it. And the man who once was Salim walks the world without a name. Thank you for watching this haunting journey into the unknown. The Valley of Silence may keep its secrets, but the stories will always find their way to you. If you liked this story, please leave a like, share it with others, and subscribe for more long horror and mystery tales every week. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you, LL, be the first to hear the next dark chapter. Until then, stay safe and never answer the voice that calls your name at midnight.